Prepare to attack the enemy's control points.
Get behind me, Doctor!
I am fully charged!
You are listening to Control Point, a Team Fortress 2 podcast with Brent Copeland, Eric Fullerton, Wes Wilson, and Spencer Williams.
Control Point, Episode 6, recorded on November 27th, 2007.
I'm Brent Copeland.
I'm Eric Fullerton.
I'm Wes Wilson.
I'm Spencer Williams, and it looks like we got through the introduction correctly this week.
Yes, I'm no longer a robot. I guess I'll start this thing up by cracking open the old briefcase. Inside are some documents explaining what this episode is all about. And here I see we're going to be talking about the patch notes. 2 patches, I believe, happened this week.
Yeah.
A funky new TF2 tune that I found on Myspace. This is pretty cool.
I haven't heard that. I gotta.
It's bizarre. We got a lot of listener contributions, some calls, all about our featured class today, which is going to be the Scout.
I like what you've done there.
Our notes say sniper, but we've already talked about the
nice
sniper.
recovery.
Yeah.
Starts with an S. So we'll get started with our Team Fortress status this week. We'll just kind of run through what we did this week.
And what did you do this week, Eric?
Okay. I try to play some Scout since, that's our highlighted class this week.
Yeah.
But I get killed too fast. I mean, really, I like that you can run fast. That's cool. But that's all I like about it. And I go back to the Pyro. I love the Pyro now all of a sudden. And that's my second played class right now is the Pyro. I run circles around people. I can kill 5-6 people at once. And
you don't run circles around scouts.
That's true.
Okay,
what are you going to do about that?
Scout v. Pyro, the Scout doesn't get close enough to run a circle around the Pyro.
Right.
Yeah, this is true. But
have you noticed the changes from the last patch? That the Pyro is able to fire while running better.
Forward. Yeah. I totally noticed that.
That's a lot better.
Yeah,
a lot better.
In fact, that's why I think I'm playing it a lot now. It's much more effective. Anyway, lots of Pyro playing and trying to get this, our Machinima, our movie to work. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to change the background color and face poser. And for some dumb reason, I changed it to green or any color and it just remains black.
Yeah, I've actually noticed that too. If you try and add other geometry in there, it only sometimes works, and I'm not really sure why that is. Yeah,
and using the flex animation, I need to try to animate his, arms and legs and stuff like that while he's speaking. So I'm kind of having a hard time with that. Also, getting a NPC imported into a map who's able to speak and animate according to our scripts. So far, we can only get to speak. We needed to, walk around and do some stuff, some poses and stuff.
I thought that the entire file would transfer along with the NPC if you loaded it right, maybe.
Yeah, it should. I guess the problem is that we can't get the animation to work. I think it's called Flex Animation VMF files or something like that.
Yeah. Well, I haven't played around with the Flex stuff yet, so.
Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. Working on that and playing Pyro.
Does this mean that we could conceivably create a map with lots of NPCs running around?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's nothing to stop you from doing that.
Wouldn't that be cool?
And triggers to make them do stuff.
Now, Face Poser, as far as actually, no, it has to have a way to make an NPC actually go from one point to another. Or I think maybe you program that all in Hammer. You do all the animations and everything in Face Poser, but all of the go-to
triggers and stuff
are all in Hammer. Yeah.
Like, can we create a big blender and just have an endless series of
nice people jumping in?
Yeah, getting or the cannon you were talking about last week.
Oh yeah, I can't wait.
We could just have characters being fired across the map.
Also, that blender idea you're talking about, Eric and I played this map that was crazy. You just jump off the top and you just keep falling, but there's a control point right in the center that you try to land on.
Oh, sweet.
And then everybody just falls and tries to get onto that.
It was seriously cool.
That sounds like Serious Sam right there.
I think it was CP_falling. If you're looking
awesome.
for
Falling, yeah. But on the same vein, Wes, I know you're a big horror fan or haunted house fan.
Yes.
Wouldn't it be cool to make a TF2 haunted house?
I think
and they're
that
all
would be
triggered,
great.
like people jumping out and stuff.
I think that would be awesome. I if we could have something where, you actually were traveling through it. Now, we'd have to do something to inhibit rapid movement because you want to get the jump out effect and stuff like that. But you could have, a full dark ride. You get in a little car and kind of ride around.
Oh, yeah, it's like a Disney World. Like,
yeah, that would be awesome.
It's a small world after all, or
And
something
then at the
like that.
end, the heavy
like a
comes out and
scary
kills
small
you.
world. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, like, would it change depending on what class you are? Like, if you're a spy, it'd just be like a bunch of pyros running around.
Nice.
Get behind me, monster!
That's about it for me.
Okay. Hey, Brent, how was your week?
My week was pretty good. I was out of town for the holidays, so I made some good use to my time until my parents cracked the whip and were asking me if I played that damn game all the time. And
You rotten kids, get off of my laptop.
So, I played a little bit. I played Scout quite a bit, but I do anyway most of the time. But I played more just to enjoy and get ready for the podcast.
You do play Scout a lot.
Yeah.
Scouts rock. Scouts really rock.
They
but
do.
We'll get into that
Yeah.
later. I had a cool event while I was spying. I didn't only have a medic heal me, but he Ubered me. And I was like,
Were you disguised?
And it like I was disguised. And it took me like a few seconds to figure out what was going on. Like I was like, do I have a medic? My medic,
Was that
Ubering
game
me?
I was playing with you in?
I don't know.
Because I think that happened in the game I was in too.
Yeah, was the medic on your team or was he on the other team?
I'm pretty sure he was on the other team.
Okay,
I didn't
that
even know it was possible, but I'm like, I got to make sure I don't backstab him, right? But he changed pretty quickly, so I don't know if he figured out what it was or what, but that was interesting.
That's hilarious.
And I also got Ubered as a scout and ran in and killed a sentry gun with my bat. So that was fun.
That is awesome.
And so I'm like, and my idea is if you're a medic, have fun with the Uber every once in a while. Uber a class that doesn't normally get Ubered.
We
They
were
will love
actually,
you.
when we talked about the medic, our second episode, we were talking about the sort of the hierarchy of who you should Uber, and I don't think we even mentioned scouts.
Yeah, because I don't think there's any point. It was only because I was the only one there. It was 2-fort, and we were down at the flag room, and there's a sentry gun in there, and he can't kill it.
Yeah.
I can't kill it without him, and I was like, Uber me.
I mean, really,
Yeah.
I guess
That is hilarious.
Ubering a scout would be above Ubering an engineer.
Yeah, that's true.
Or Ubering another medic, or I guess
I
Ubering a spy that's on your team.
I have had a medic Uber me before as a medic. I've had it happen, but usually it's because there's confusion about who's healing who in a big medic chain.
No, I'm talking about very deliberate. Oh,
Now
who should I medic?
I was playing medic in Gravel Pit, and I found a very good time to Uber an engineer. That you brought that up, I forgot completely about it. But we were at B, and they were storming in, and we had like maybe 20 seconds left or something. And they had like a Uber going on
That's
the guy's
awesome.
gun, and I was like, screw it. So I Ubered the engineer behind the gun while he's just whacking his gun, keeping it alive, and we ended up winning.
That's a good
So
idea.
you're sort of Ubering the turret by
Exactly.
proxy. That's pretty cool.
So it's kind of different ways to think about using Uber, But
Yeah, don't
by
take the
proxy.
game so seriously. Uber a spy every now and then. Jeez.
What? No. No.
Wasn't that the moral of our story here?
No, take it very serious. The internet is serious business.
yes, and it's for
Webernets.
porn. And TF2 now. And then one other thing I wanted to bring up because it really kind of peed me off. See, I'm keeping it G or
It peed you.
something. But I was in a game and some guy started talking and, well, the guy sounded like a girl. And some guy just,
Sounded like
started
a hot
making
girl.
fun of him, asking him, how long he's been a girl for and all this stuff. And just kept on and on and on for like 10 minutes till the guy just quit the game. And I'm like, okay, there's a time and place and there's a difference between making, joking with someone and then just berating them and about something silly.
Again, you clearly don't have Xbox Live.
I don't, and I would probably hate that. But anyway, it kind
Go
of
play
annoyed
some
me.
Halo online, see what that's like.
And then chatty people.
Chatty people?
When I'm in a game and people are like chatting about like their weekend while you're like, I need help getting this gun down.
Oh, yeah.
Or come heal me.
You know, on that same note, it was so funny because I joined a game with Brent the other day, and the first thing he did was, "So, have you thought about what you're going to say during the podcast?" And you got to keep in mind, that we in general we try to avoid talking directly about what we're going to talk about in the podcast beforehand because we don't want to ruin whatever chemistry might arise, you know, when we start talking about these topics.
Right.
Yeah, we call it saving the gold.
Yes.
Yeah.
So for him to say that, it was a rather patent attempt for the discussion of our podcast to be on the global chat.
Oh yes, I am the shill.
And so, yeah, I started, I don't know, but I've been playing I started hamming it up. It was pretty funny, actually.
And so I had fun doing that, and that's my week. So I guess I will throw this over to
Wes.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Wes
then.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I played a scout as well, but I kept falling back on medic and heavy. And I know that might sound funny, but I was playing a lot of maps and there were no medics coming up. And since I actually, know how to play one, it seemed like the logical choice, especially on something like, Dust Bowl. You just can't move forward without an Uber. I mean, there's certain situations where you have to have one. So I kept switching back. And then the other thing was, we kept having these long, protracted battles in Dust Bowl where it was basically, it required some heavies. And, both Brent and I were jumping on as kind of doing Uber medic combos and things like that. And at one point in time, I got by, I don't know the name of that point, but it's the one with the bridge and the canyon underneath it. And then the corner.
It's my favorite part that it seems like you never get to. I mean, every once in a while you do, but.
Yeah. I had him build a dispenser behind me. And then I just knelt down in front of it with my chain gun and just sat there and just sprayed the area the whole time going, blah, ha, 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 blah.
It's better than a medic. It's better than a medic. Except it can't move with you.
You want to hear the funny part though? So I'm guarding this spot. I've got this channel because it was a heavy spy game too. So me keeping the lane coming up to us peppered with bullets was also keeping the spies out. And I'm sitting there and I'm just going, wah, for like 5 minutes and it booted me. It kicked me out to team selection.
Did it give you a reason?
Yeah. You know how like if you sit there and idle? It thought because I hadn't moved anywhere, I hadn't shot anyone, and no one had shot me. And I guess that the valve logic is he's not doing anything.
Weak sauce.
Like basically, they have I guess set so you don't put something on your mouse button or a key that keeps you firing and just.
And the best part was that the team that I was on with Brent had one more person, so I couldn't get in. And I waited, and the other team sucked so bad. We had been crushing them over and over again, and I had to get on the other side and be beaten to death.
Awesome.
See, and that was awesome. See, that is my favorite part of Dust Bowl. I love getting to that map and defending, attacking either one. I love that map.
It's the one where you come out and there's the two entryways and there's a bunker right in front of it.
Yeah. That's the very, very last control point in the progression on Dust Bowl.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. And it's bloody, it's brutal, and it was a lot of fun.
And that game was awesome because they took the first point in there, and they were coming around that corner, and we ended up pushing them back into their home point, and we couldn't take the point back. I guess
you're saying we. When really what you mean is I, because I was in my base walking out the door having you shoot me.
I love that bunker there. Use that bunker.
I am not kidding. They pushed us all the way back.
Wow, your team
to
sucked.
Our spawn point.
You clearly suck too, because
I don't want to hear any of your lip.
Well, you're gonna, because you suck.
Okay. Other things I did. I was on a no spray server. I tried to put the stupid spray up.
There's a very good rationale for that. It does lower latency if there are no sprays.
Really?
Yes. Not by a measurable amount, but people who think that they're pro, want no sprays.
Because you're either pro or you're a noob.
Yeah, and if you play
That's
without
life.
if you play without pants, it lowers latency too. I mean, it's not noticeable.
It's well known that pants cause lag. I mean,
it's true.
Baggy pants.
I thought this was about my week.
Well, you
Well,
said
how are your pants, Wes?
you said the no spray server, right? I saw an article on a website. I guess I could find it, link to it. But it was talking about advertising in video games, user advertising, using sprays and stuff. And for the example of a user-generated advertisement in game, it linked straight to the TF2 podcast site. That was their example.
To us?
Yeah.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
So,
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
I think.
Really?
Wait, was the article about how this was bad?
No,
Okay,
it was
then good.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It was just kind of the light that this is happening and it's interesting.
How
and,
is this the first time I've heard of this?
Me too.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
See how I
Definitely
saved the
wanna
gold
say
and
that.
then I release it on the show? Isn't that great?
And I was all sitting here thinking, so I guess we need to start making like Pepsi and Coke ones just to mess with people. Like Pepsi's in there putting their ad up on their.
Well, I guess
server.
then we need to put up a link for that.
Interesting,
'Cause I
huh?
want to read that.
Yeah.
And if you want to see our sprays, you can always go to our server, which is sponsored by GameService.com.
Oh, you got to it. I was over here looking at the thing, trying to find out what the name of it was.
Too slow.
Okay.
Anyway, so this is a no spray server.
No spray server. And if you could spray like all over the place, it would be one thing, but you can only have one spray. So I don't really think it's that big of a deal. If each character gets one, 256, pixel spray on the whole map, I don't think that's that bad.
Yeah.
I also was on a server that had class caps.
Yeah, I've played on one of those before.
Basically, after there were 3 people playing each class, you weren't allowed to play that class anymore. And specifically, I think it cost the most because you couldn't have more than 3 soldiers. Which, if you have 5 or 6 soldiers that are all moving together, it's devastating.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
your bread and butter. I mean,
yeah, and that specifically was the class I was trying to choose, and I'm like, what do you mean I can't be a soldier? Okay, I'll be a medic.
And I've been on servers that outlaw like snipers altogether, and there I wouldn't be surprised if there's 1 or 2 that outlaw spies.
Wow, that's interesting.
We got some listeners that would love that server. They're outlaw snipers.
We've got some people on this panel who would too. And also, I was on one server. We were playing Warpath, which I think is an excellent map, but it's bloody. And
I haven't seen that one.
And it becomes a draw a lot. But there was a sniper with about twice as many points as the next highest player. And it got to the point where everyone was saying he had an aimbot. I don't know if he did.
Well, that's for the last 10 years of these online first-person shooters. Whenever someone's doing well, someone inevitably pulls
Yeah,
out
but
the
twice
aimbot.
as many points as the next highest player.
Yeah, you know what? You can be really good at this game.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all played against Mohaji the Moon Princess at one point or another.
Well, and what was he playing? Do you remember?
He started off as a sniper, and then he moved to soldier.
Okay, I can see that. I also see medics a lot of times. Medics to me should almost have the highest score if they're playing properly, because as they're keeping these guys healing that are getting the kills, they die and they're still alive, or they can heal someone else and get their kills.
Yes and no. Yes and no, because also you're the first target. If anybody reads Penny Arcade, you know who you're supposed to shoot, and I know that when I have out my gun and I see people running towards me and there's a medic, I don't care who it is, I shoot the medic first.
Right. And hopefully the person you're healing or they're healing is defending them.
Yes.
Which I see a lot where they don't, and it annoys the crap out of me. I'm like, you need to be watching my back.
Yes, exactly. Well, that was my week. I had a pretty good time this week. I haven't been playing as much, mostly because, it's bad for me. But I did get a little bit in, and that was my week.
Spencer.
Okay, well, if you go to look at my my page on Steam, you'll see that in the last 2 weeks I have accrued a grand total of 0.3 or 0.4 hours of playtime. So I haven't gotten a whole lot of playtime in, primarily because of Thanksgiving.
Wow,
and
carpal
other
tunnel's
stuff.
setting in or something?
No. I did play a little bit last night, just so I wouldn't be completely unprepared tonight. And I played on a couple of custom maps. Do you remember you were talking about the one that was like a rugby map or something?
Oh, yeah.
I played on that one, and it was terrible. And not necessarily because of the map, but because the map is very, very small. And there were 32 players, and there was no respawn timer.
Oh, nice.
It was like Duel 2, except it was lame.
Those are exclusive?
Hey, you're the only one here who doesn't like Duel 2. Unless, wait, do you guys like Duel 2?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I like Duel 2.
Yeah.
In moderation.
It's not like our favorite map, but
Moderation.
yeah, it's
Right.
it's cool for 20 minutes maybe.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
I even said that in the podcast. The first one.
Yeah, but you're always down on. Anyway. I did play on a couple of other maps that I can not remember at all because they were just not very good.
You want to name that map in 3 notes?
420 maps.
420 minutes.
You know, I see them and I completely avoid them.
What are these 420 maps?
Brent?
I don't want to talk bad about any maps because they're maps, and I think I'm glad there's content out there. But
And we're still in the very early stages of these maps coming out.
yeah, I just think they make a lot of maps really quick and miss some of the finer points that they could put on there, like keeping people out of respawns,
Yeah.
like
Gotcha.
it all, like the doors open for everybody kind of thing.
Yeah.
But they have some cool concepts on some of their maps. I just, I don't like logging in and having a sentry and a heavy wep sitting there on my respawn.
Exactly.
Brent, I saw you playing the ice map the other day.
Yes.
I still haven't played that. I still haven't seen it.
It's a fun map in moderation.
Yes,
So-
it is.
In that map, do you actually see breath coming out of your mouth?
That would be awesome,
haven't
but probably
noticed it.
not.
Well, the question why I ask is because there's an option in the in Hammer. It's a environment option or preference or something. It says basically, is this a cold environment? Yes or no?
Weird.
So I'm like, no. That's default is no. And I was like, well, what does it do when you say yes?
That would be really cool.
Are people
Maybe it's
blue?
lighting.
It's weird, huh?
Maybe some kind of lighting effect.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Very strange.
I don't know.
So
or
anyway,
maybe a sound effect like
Wonder if they made that whole map just because of that one setting.
probably. Yeah, I would.
Yes. Okay.
yeah. So mappers, just keep it up. Keep working at it.
Yeah.
Like you need my motivation or anything. I have come to a conclusion this week that I am completely and utterly bored with playing with strangers.
Really?
Entirely. I get on a map where I'm playing with a bunch of people I don't know, and I don't get excited. I just get slightly annoyed.
You should start talking to them.
Asking them how their week was. Is that what you mean?
Just let me know what server that is, and I won't join it until you're done.
So I think I'm going to start scheduling lots and lots and lots of Control Point games.
I like that.
That'd be good.
Because I
I
love
do
playing
too.
with the guys who listen to the podcast and who have been on that server. It is much more fun, and even more fun than that is playing clan.
Yeah,
tourney
it's so much
type.
more satisfying to play with people that, even if I don't know you in real life, quote unquote, at least I have played with you in the past, and that's fun. I enjoy being killed by Prodigal more than I enjoy being killed by someone else, for example.
There's a flash of humor too when somebody that you know who's your friend, comes around the corner and kills you, and you're like, "Oh, God!"
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, it's different.
So we did get an email this week from
yeah,
the proprietor, or one of the proprietors, I'm not sure which one, of Team Fortress 2 TV, which they're doing some pretty cool stuff. They've got a little bit of a video blog going where they talk about the game, and they've got a tournament?
Yeah, they're basically doing arena style commentary on ongoing tournaments.
Yeah, so
I love that.
I looked at that and I thought that was really cool. So
It's totally cool. They're covering COV, I think, right now.
Yeah,
There's like a billion different tournaments, though. I mean, you can't really cover every tournament, but
Right.
COV, it's a big one, and their commentary is quite good. And really, the matches are awesome to watch.
And
I mean,
you
it's
learn
great.
a lot from watching them too.
Yeah,
You totally do, yeah.
I found I was watching it and listening to their commentary on what was going on in the battle really made me feel like I was getting a look into real competitive Team Fortress 2 playing.
Yeah, so I put up a link to their site on
Team
our
Fortress
site.
TV.
Oh, good.
Sorry, I think I was saying COV. It's CEVO.
CEVO, yeah.
CEVO is the tournament.
Yeah.
They're on episode 8, it looks like right now.
Yeah, and I've been saying like TF2 TV for the address, and it is teamfortress.tv.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really cool. So you guys should check that out. And finally this week, my big announcement is I got engaged.
Woo!
Yeah.
Nice work.
Congratulations.
I didn't
Talk
tell.
about saving the gold.
Yeah,
Yeah, for
I didn't
real.
tell anyone in advance.
White
Nice.
gold.
Except for a whole bunch of people on the internet. Because the way I proposed is we watch television through our 360 using like the DVR function of the 360. And all day on Thursday, we kept getting messages. They pop up at the ROM, they go, doo-doot, and such has sent you a message. And, after a while, she said, you sure are getting a lot of messages. And I'm like, yeah. And then right before we left to go to my parents' house for Thanksgiving, I said, I guess I better check all these messages. And there were 22 of them. And I said, wow, there must be important. There's 22 of them. And every single one of them said, Jennifer, will you marry Spencer?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I just
Except
had
for the
chills.
one that said, Jennifer, will you marry Spencer, even though he's an enormous nerd.
Nice.
And a couple of our, at least one of our listeners sent one. Hobbs did. Thanks a lot.
That's awesome.
And it was just really cool. And she did say yes. So.
Yay!
Congratulations. So let me ask you something. Is it because were you sitting there thinking, the podcast is doing so well. We got so many people. We're generating so much revenue through the gameservers.com site that I can now buy some new shoes, and then I'm going to ask you to marry me.
No, I still can't afford new shoes because I just bought a friggin' ring. Wes has been talking about his new TV he just bought. I'm like, damn it.
All I got is a wife.
Which hopefully doesn't listen to the podcast now.
Oh, yeah. I love you.
Well, that's cool. Good news.
So that was my
Good
week.
stuff.
Awesome. Congratulations.
So I guess now we're going to move on to news and discussion on the loudspeaker.
Loudspeaker.
On the loudspeaker today is a song.
I can't wait to hear this song.
And this song is by Captain Spalding, titled I'm Your Medic. Here's a clip.
I'm your medic, saving people's lives, so give me a little credit. Scout rushing me with his little baseball bat, needles in your face, punk, take that. This might hurt a bit, come and get it. I'm your medic, but you can call me Captain Spalding. The guy on your team, always in the top 3. You're like, Captain Spalding, who would charge me? We're dying over here, can't get past a century.
All right, that's pretty funky. We'll play a little bit more maybe after the podcast at the end, and we'll have a link to it. And you
I
can
still
check out
haven't
the
heard
entire thing. Yeah, it's catchy. There's a lot of sound clips in there going on.
Okay.
But anyway, so moving on.
Also on the loudspeaker, we did have some patches this week, didn't we?
Yes, we did. We had 2 of them.
Yeah. And both of them addressed a lot of really technical issues that we don't much care to talk about. But Wes
But
was
one of them
was
important.
Yeah. They in the first patch they attempted to fix the geometry collision problem that caused people to be able to get underneath the maps and then set up turrets and piss off Wes.
Ding, ding, ding.
And then the next patch said, we have taken more aggressive steps to prevent people from getting underneath the maps.
Nice.
So I don't know if they've got it fixed now or not. I have no idea.
I still haven't actually done it. I've seen the video. I've known how it's done. I still have never actually done it. And it even looks kind of annoying to try anyway, so I'm not sure I even want to try
Well,
it.
hopefully you can't now.
Yes, that's what I hope. No cheating.
That's
Cheating
really it
bad.
for the patches this week, unless someone else.
There was a bunch of stuff with underlines and things
Yeah.
and stuff. And, yeah.
Underlines. Yeah.
Underlines?
He means like technical stuff. He doesn't know what he's
Well,
talking about.
there was they
Like
they,
links?
Well, no, they had all kinds of like subroutines and they
Underscores.
when they put the little underscores,
Okay.
yeah. So shut up. I hate you.
Anything else in the loudspeaker or on the loudspeaker?
Let's see here. No, There's not.
No.
So
Not much news.
Okay.
Because we're going to move right into our dossier. This is the Scout.
The Scout.
We'll be talking about.
Okay, the Scout.
He's faster than fast.
He is. He's faster than fast. Everyone's familiar with the Scout. You can't play the game at all without seeing a Scout run by you and wonder how they're doing that. The Scout is the fastest class in the game by far. What is it, 133%? Was that what it was?
I think so.
133%. And their primary weapon is the scattergun. This is essentially a sawed-off double-barrel shotgun that does a little bit more damage than a standard shotgun, 85 to 105. It carries 6 shots and before you have to reload, and then you can hold up to 32 shots in it. This weapon does more damage at closer range, but at the same time, it will do damage at really far ranges, so don't think that you have to pull out your secondary weapon, which in this case is a pistol. The pistol does 20 to 22 points of damage and holds 36 bullets, which is less than the engineer's pistol. The Scout is just not able to carry as many bullets.
Huh.
But he's fast.
He's faster than fast.
That's not much range there. 20 to 22.
That's not much damage. But I don't. The secondary weapon on the Scout is mainly. Actually, I don't even really know why anyone would use it.
I use it all the time.
Why?
Because that shotgun runs out of ammo very quickly, and it takes forever to reload.
Okay.
And forever for a Scout is a lot shorter time than, say, forever for a soldier. But when your entire game plan is go in quickly, hit them fast, and get away from them, you don't have time to reload, so you switch to your other weapon.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. I have never successfully used the pistol. That has not been on my list of things to do.
I've killed you with it.
I don't want to hear this. Okay, their last their melee weapon is a bat. It's not even a new bat.
The old dented one.
Save the gold.
And anyway, and just like every other melee weapon in the game, you can beat people with it, and it does about the same as everyone else.
Nope, does
the melee
less.
weapon does less than everyone, but the spy? The spy and the Scout do the same amount of damage. Now, there's a trade-off there, because the bat swings twice as fast as everything else. So
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't know it went faster either.
You guys read
I
up
thought
on
they
this, and I
just
didn't.
made it less because they can get in and get a whack with a bat a lot faster than other people.
You go in and you stack a pyro up next to a Scout and see who's swinging faster, because when you actually start swinging with the bat, you're going donk, 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 donk.
Yeah.
I love that. Do it more.
Donk, 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 donk.
The Scout is designed for players who are able to rapidly move around while tracking their target. Where other combat classes rely on high amounts of damage, the Scout relies on his high movement speed and double jump ability to dodge enemy fire. Much of his combat style is crafted through the features of his primary weapon, the scattergun. It does a large amount of damage, but has a wide spread that forces him to get close to the enemy for full effect, where he's also at the highest risk of being hurt. It has a slow rate of fire that encourages him to pause to fire, then dodge, then pause, and so on, which gives enemies a higher chance to hit him at intervals. Finally, it holds a small clip and the slow reload time to encourage the Scout to pull out of combat to reload, something which he can do easily with his speed, and gives injured enemies a chance to run before the Scout returns.
Scout has the lowest health in the game, tying the Engineer, Spy, and Sniper with 125. The special ability of the Scout over other classes is the Scout is able to double jump. This is the ability where in midair you are able to jump again and get higher than most people would be able to. You can use this to get to several interesting places. For instance, if you're familiar with Two Fort, you'll see Scouts running over the top of the covered bridge all the time because they come off of the sniper deck, they jump, and then right before they get below the lip of the covered bridge, they jump again and get onto it and run across. The jump actually from the bridge over to the sniper deck on the other side is a little trickier.
Yeah.
I sometimes miss that one.
It's because you have a smaller target to hit. The other thing you can use the double jump for is you can actually change directions in midair, which is helpful when you see a rocket heading towards you.
I love doing that.
One interesting thing, I can't, and it's from a tip farther down. And
I'm
not going to cover it.
We got a lot of tips from people.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. But we're going to cover that tip later. So,
Crazy, man.
well,
Too many tips.
I know.
Never enough.
The first tip we have is when dueling, fight while running backwards. Master this skill.
Yes, very important.
The idea is, you're going to be dealing a lot of damage at medium range. Your scattergun is going to really slam into people at medium range. So if you're running backwards and they're chasing after you, you can stay at a proper distance. Plus, you can get damage in while you're running away.
Yeah, and don't use teleporters.
No.
Ever.
You remember how I was complaining about that last week?
Yeah, I remember that. You actually can use the teleporter to get to the front faster. That's true. But you know what? It's a lot less important for you than it is for the heavy behind you.
And when you get to the front really fast and die again, you'll be running past that heavy who had to run the next time. So,
and I hear people get so mad at spies for doing that, and I'm like, hello, and scouts.
Yes.
And scouts,
Yeah.
as scouts take. I mean, I see scouts taking teleporters all the time. I'm not the one to whine or anything.
And it depends. If you're all alone and nobody is there, okay, sure, I understand. But I was a heavy and I got my teleporter taken away from me the other night by a soldier. Now that might not seem like much of a difference, but when you're trying to capture that last control point, getting that heavy to the front lines is going to be very, very valuable.
Well, I wouldn't be mad about a soldier, personally.
I'm sorry. It made me mad, especially because I was on it and he pushed me off of it.
Oh, then that guy's a jerk.
I'm pretty much anyone but a scout and a spy. I'm good with getting up there. I mean, just personally.
Even pushing you off?
No, I don't think it's nice to push anybody off unless they're a scout or a spy. But,
moral relativity. How I love thee.
And there's another kind of intrinsic value of having people run up to the front. I mean, it's good to get people up to the front, but it's great to have a scout that's having to run every time. Just to check that back country, make sure there's not an engineer setting up a sentry somewhere or a spy trying to sneak around.
Or enemy teleporters.
Right. And, you're the fastest, so you can move and get back and forth faster. So that's
faster and fast. You mentioned about jumping in different directions, Spencer.
I did.
Always do the jump where you strafe jump left and then in midair strafe jump right.
Yeah.
So you just kind of left, right, bing, bong, It freaks people out,
Bing, bong.
I actually like jumping straight at someone and then all of a sudden...
And then jump back?
No, not jumping back, jumping to the side.
Oh, strafing? Okay,
Yeah,
jump
and
left or right.
That tends to confuse people and you can get behind them and smack them with a bat.
I love double jumping over them and shooting them like right above them, just straight down on them, hit them with a bat or something. But another good use of doing the side jumps and stuff is getting off the covered bridge to the sniper deck. I found that if you do kind of an angle jump and then go straight when you're lined up with that opening, you can get up there much easier.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
One other thing with double jumping, let's say that you're about to fall a really big distance, and you jump off, and then while you're falling, right before you hit the ground, do your double jump.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, you have not taken any damage.
That's cool. I've never thought of that.
I haven't either. That was a tip that we got, and I thought that was a great one.
That's
magic.
To accommodate the scout class, maps need open spaces that allow scouts to double jump along paths that the other classes can't navigate. This area features a variety of rooftops and rocks that a scout can traverse while staying above any non-scout opponents. Scouts often use their speed advantage to retreat and collect health, so here we force them to adopt some risk by placing the health inside a small enclosed area where they sacrifice some freedom of movement.
And then also there's something called a scout rush. And this is a brutal and cruel thing to do to most people.
Wes hates it.
It's not true. I don't hate the scout rush. I just don't think it should determine the game. But anyway, if you know you're on a point where getting those first couple of control points is gonna move your spawn point up and things like that, go ahead and make lots of scouts at the beginning. And go ahead and charge forward. The examples that I've read is having a good 10 scouts run forward and grab stuff. You will snag those control points faster because, one other thing I forgot to point out, scouts count as 2 people when they are on a control point.
Now, there's a very effective counter to this, and you may not necessarily stop them from taking the first point, but if you're playing against a team that, for example, the last round they scout rushed, you get your team to go heavies, you get your team to go pyros, you get your team to go soldiers. And they'll get that first point, but then they're all going to die. And you can take the point back. So
because you'll be a little slower getting there, and they'll snag the point, but then you just mow them down with that fire.
Yeah, and I'd say heavies and pyros are like my biggest fears as scout. Like, I don't mind getting up with a soldier because I can get away from him or away from his rockets pretty well.
If a soldier gets you cornered, you're dead. Pretty much.
There's a couple of classes that scouts don't have to be afraid of. Most scouts are not afraid of demo men at all.
No.
If the demo man has enough time to get stickies down on the ground, that's one thing. But just standard demo man running around with a grenade gun is not going to be any problem to a scout.
And what about a spy? It's kind of hard to backstab a scout.
No, it is.
Not really afraid
when
of
he's
spies.
in motion.
And the other thing is that scouts move so fast they run into they'll run into people, and then you'll break the camouflage.
I also don't think scouts are particularly afraid of snipers, just because they're small targets. Two, they're fast, they're hard to hit.
True.
And one, you can get inside of a sniper's effective range very quickly. My favorite kill that I've ever gotten in all time was on the middle control point, where there's sort of the gulch in the middle. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
And there's the gap on the upper layer that you can fall down to a lower level. There was a spy on one. I'm sorry, not a spy. A sniper on one side, and I was playing a scout. I just hop over the gulch, smack him in the face with a baseball bat, and he died.
Nice.
So awesome.
And they're also they're the meat and potatoes of 2 Fort for scouts. If you want to get some points, just hop up on that balcony, and those snipers aren't paying any attention. 2 shots, and they're gone.
Yeah.
2 Fort, and that's another thing to point out, is that scouts are going to be your primary capturing unit. You're going to be sending your scouts out to go and get enemy intelligence or capture points all the time. Anything that you can do, if you've got a couple of really good scouts on your team, your goal should be to go forward and make sure that the heavies are taken out, make sure that the pyros are taken out, make sure that the sentries are taken out. And that's a big one.
Yeah.
Because a sentry is murder on a scout.
That's one of the things I was going to mention. In Team Fortress and Team Fortress Classic, a scout was a very effective anti-sentry class because they had grenades. They could jump out, throw out a grenade, destroy a sentry, and then be done with it. Now, without grenades, a scout has no defense against a turret, which will push them back and kill them in about a quarter second.
Yep.
I mean, and that was in Classic, right? Because, like, the original, they just had conch grenades.
I thought they had.
But you could use them to fly past.
They didn't have regular grenades as well?
No, all they got were they had basically 2 sets of conch grenades.
Yeah,
but Classic, you could fly past the sentry guns with those if you knew how to use them.
Right.
How they worked really well.
So anyway, yes, sentry guns are not your friends.
And I mean, when I played a scout this week, that was my main thing, was trying to organize the team into taking out the sentries that people had built around the intelligence.
And nothing can be more frustrating than even if you are a very effective scout player, if your team is not focused on making the path accessible for you, then there's not much you can do.
Yeah, and play some defense then. I like doing defense with the scout a lot of times.
Yeah.
If they've got the flag, a lot of times they're not looking back, and you can just get right up there in their spine and blow it out their front.
Yep.
Nice.
But so if you've got a couple of good scouts on your team, really focus on making sure they've got a clear path. I know it might seem, counterintuitive for you to worry about trying to focus on one path, but if you can get that scout going back and forward all the time, if he can get the intelligence once, then he can get it again. And it's just a matter of making sure that path is clear.
Yeah, and make sure, scouts, that you are communicating. You are the front lines of where that flag is or where that briefcase is, because if you're dead, you can't tell anybody on a lot of servers. So you need to keep an update where you're going, where you're going to bring it out. And in 2 Fort, even though there's a sentry up a lot of times, there's multiple ways to get around them. There's some good spots to keep them where it's hard to get, through the ramp room or down the spiral. But if they've got them just in the ramp room, concentrate on getting up on the sniper deck and running through that way. Because if it can still hit you, you can still get past that doorway fast enough not to die. Mm-hmm. So just keep trying. Like, a lot of times I'll run, and if I miss the jump, I'll run back around and do it again, just because it's so easy. And I mean, so fast that you can just do it, and it doesn't really take any time. And if you get hit when you're in one of these runs, run back and get some health. I mean, it's like nothing. I mean, sure, you can die and get back, in 12 seconds, but you can probably get back and get health in, 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's less points for other people to be getting, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Now, one thing that I would like to note about the Scout is that they are built to die. And that's something that you need to pay attention to when you're playing a Scout is you are entirely designed to get up in someone's face and do a lot of damage very quickly. And they can do that. Probably the only class that can do more damage up close is the Pyro. The problem is you are so fragile, you're a glass cannon. You're going to get up close, and unless you take them out very quickly, the next step you should do is to be running away. Don't stay in their face, because you're going to die.
Sometimes I get cocky. And I'll come around a corner and there'll be a heavy right there, and I'll be really, really close to him and I'll have my scatter gun out and I'm just like, I can take him. I can do it. I'm wrong.
I can. What about you, Brent? Can you?
I was reading this. What'd you say again?
Talking about getting cocky as a scout and like you come around
heavy.
a corner and there's a heavy right there. And sometimes I just get cocky and I go, I'm right here. I can do it. I can do this.
You can.
We'll mention who mentioned this, but there is a good tip somewhere in here.
I think
get behind the heavy and duck.
Yeah.
Because when he turns, it's harder for him to see you, and he'll just go past you, not see you.
that's pretty cool.
But that's one thing, though. I'm instinctively moving as a scout. It's very rare for me to ever choose to stand still. It seems like you're minimizing your greatest strength. And most people will tell you never to stop moving as a scout.
I don't think I disagree with that. I think there are times to stop, personally.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say there are too. I mean, when you're fighting, there's not a lot of good times too, but definitely when you're planning your movements ahead and stuff. But like going back to the heavy, a good trick is you're spinning around him, he's going to catch up. Even though you're faster running, he can spin faster. So do a double jump over him sideways and get ahead of his circular curve.
Confusion.
And another thing with aiming with a scout, I know a lot of people say get really good at aiming, but there's also another trick because you can move so fast is what I like to do is a side strafe where I don't move my gun in any direction. I keep my gun level, my mouse, and I strafe until they come into my target, and then I shoot them.
Yeah,
and
that's
then I
a
go
good
back
thing
and
to do
forth.
too.
And it's much easier to, get that aim, and you have that time that you can use because you are going so fast.
Yeah.
We did get one tip from a guy named Lil Dice. He says that scouts are not usually the first class when you think of when you're going to do defense. Mm-hmm. But on certain maps, they can be very effective. At about 2 minutes left in Dust Bowl, Lil Dice likes to switch to scout and distract the enemy players who are going for the objective. What he does is get behind the front line and starts running around their spawn and the back base with his pistol and the scatter gun. I know that it is a very effective technique on these 2-point maps when you are focused on the front lines for 1 or 2 people to come and harry the forces that are spawning.
Yeah, I actually use that a lot on Well, and not necessarily for defense. On Well, you can get to the defending team, the other team's point very quickly, and unless they're absolute retards and haven't set up any defense, you're not going to be able to take the point. But you can prevent them from moving forward, which lets your team move the front closer to their point and give you the early advantage.
All right.
We got a tip from Kevin Burnell. I believe he sent in a tip last week. This is about double jumping. Or no, this is about crouch jumping.
Crotch
jumping.
Wow.
Right to the crotch of a scout.
The extreme sport for the 21st century.
This is it's kind of correcting us in episode 2 when we said that you could jump higher by crouching and then jumping, but he says that you actually jump and then crouch. I got to thinking, me and Brent were talking about this, and we thought, well, does he mean that after you do a double jump, then you crouch and then you jump? So you're doing a crouch jump, double jump, like a double crouch jump? You know what I'm talking about?
I think what it means, and this actually makes a lot more sense to me, is you jump and then crouch. Now, in the case of a scout, you'll jump and then crouch if you want the boost on that first one, and then your second jump, you can then crouch to get the boost on that one. That's what he means. And basically, I think what happens, if you think about it in terms of the model, you jump up and then pull your feet up. So you're not actually jumping higher. It's just your feet are at a higher point, so they can land on a higher point.
Oh, I see.
He actually put in some stuff here. He said his theory is that the character has distinct states for falling and jumping, which have certain centers of gravity. And when you tap crouch in the air, it transitions you from the jumping to the falling state. So even though you might still be going up from your jump, the model is considered to be falling, and you're able to grab higher ledges. That was his theory.
Yeah, that's a good guess. I'd like to hear more theories on this one.
Yeah, I'm going to have to try that more.
I will too. I haven't tried it.
Well, I was playing Warpath, and I talked about this a little bit, and there's those on Warpath, there are bridges that are going over, and you can usually access them from the other side of where you're going. So the defending team usually has the advantage closer to the individual endpoints on Warpath. But there's one way to get up by jumping on the side of this one area, and there's some little blocks. Almost looks like the stone has been inset into the wall. And I noticed engineers were jumping up and building their sentries at the top, and it was stopping the defense from being able to put a bunch of snipers up there to shoot us all as we were approaching. So I went over and tried to do it, and I did notice that the whole crouch and then jump thing was not getting me height. But if I jumped and then hit crouch, I was grabbing the ledge better, and I was able to get up those steps in ways that just pushing jump or crouching and then jumping was not.
Now, when you were crouching jumping, were you holding crouch down and then jumping?
I
or were you doing
I
like
would
a
crouch
tap?
jump.
Okay, see, I don't know. That seems to work for me. Maybe it's not, and
maybe you're just better at it.
I know some spots specifically where I can
sucking
test
at it.
this, where I haven't been able to get the crouch jump to work that I'm going to try this week. So we'll see how that works. We got another tip here from Rob.
Robert Moran.
Yeah.
We got to say, Rob, you need to start calling these tips in.
Yeah. We like to hear you talk.
Yeah, and you've called in before, so we know you have the technology.
You got a purty mouth.
Now,
Yikes.
he wrote a big long essay here, and I'm not going to read it all. But he did the most important thing to a scout is knowing the map and knowing when to be a scout. That's a good point for any class. Scouts are weak and have direct counters they can't fight against. For example, you can't fight against a well-fortified turret position or a well-fortified heavy. If you keep running into these and you're dying over and over, switch classes. You're not doing much good as you are. His second tip, don't play a scout if you suck at aiming. I think that is very appropriate for the scout because you have such a limited amount of shots that you can take at once that if you're wasting them, you're not doing any good. And then you're going to die because you are a glass cannon. So it's a good point. He wrote a little paragraph for fighting each of the different classes.
And that's very cool.
I'm just
we can
gonna
do a little quick summary.
Yeah,
because they're pretty cool.
Yeah, the heavy, get behind him, use a shotgun and not the bat because it does do more damage.
For the soldier, you want to stay at range, and it's why did you do that? That was completely unnecessary.
Are you guys scrolling the notes up and down?
Yes, he is.
Scroll fighting or whatever.
He was trying to write you another note.
This map is bananas. Which, listening to it on the last podcast, that was funny. You guys are crazy. Anyway,
crazy.
Just like the heavy, when you're fighting the soldier, you need to stay at distance. And it's easier to dodge the rockets from a distance because he's going to aim for the ground and you're not going to be on the ground. You're going to be jumping and double jumping and all that kind of stuff. And you're going to want to keep moving in circles around the soldier and basically make him hurt himself with his own weapon.
If I can make an addendum to this, the trick to fighting soldiers as a scout is to be unpredictable. It doesn't help you if you're moving in one direction because a good soldier will predict where you're going to move. Shoot a rocket at your feet, shoot you into the air, and then you're sitting duck for that next rocket that's going to kill you.
Yeah.
Next.
Engineers.
Do this one, Brent.
Well, I was going to do this one.
Okay,
I've been
engineers.
thinking about the last one.
I'm having a hard time reading from
I'll
the
do the. I'll go ahead and go to the Scout one.
Okay.
With the Scout one, he says something here, and I'm just not even going to read it because I have other ideas and opinions. My idea is it's dependent on your setup of defense. You know, it's like if you've got a pretty good defense and you know you got a sentry gun waiting for the Scout, run past them. It's not even worth your time. You can be going and killing something that's more important than the Scout that's going to get chewed up.
That's a good point.
So just otherwise, you know.
Oh, come on. Scout duels are fun.
They are fun, but I would rather go
They're
kill me some
exhausting.
snipers or go get me a briefcase.
They're so much fun.
Scout battles are exhausting because you end up getting in this long tete where everybody's shooting and missing, and you spend a lot of time nickel and diming each other down.
It's
You know
the
what?
Paladins of Team Fortress.
it is.
It's like
You know what?
Paladins fight.
Wes, I bet that if you played a Scout and I played a Scout and we went at it, I would kill you.
Yeah, and I'm thinking that's too
I don't
true.
like that.
You don't even know how to use the pistol.
But so when you do get in a fight, I will read what Rod basically says here, and basically he says you've got to outlast them. And
I think that's more or less true.
Be unpredictable, switch up things, get the health packs before they get them.
It's fencing as opposed to broadswords and shields.
Right.
You know, it's feint and
fencing with
stick.
a baseball bat.
Yeah,
I like to run in with the bat if he doesn't have the bat out too, and just try to keep behind him.
Yeah. Although if they can get away at the same rate that you can approach them, the bat is much less effective, especially if they're pulling out the pistol.
Right.
Engineers, he says, this is a pretty good tip. If the turret is being set up, get in close and use the shotgun. Anything past a level 1 turret is instant death, so don't even try and fight it.
Unless you get Ubered.
Unless you get Ubered and you're an Uber Scout. Although I still think you might get pushed away faster than you can get to it. There's a time and place for Scouts, and turret is not that time. Let's see.
you gonna read
This
this
is my
next part?
favorite tip.
Oh,
if
God.
Wes switches to an engineer, play as a spy. When you sap him, make sure you put down a funny spray on his body like a kitty cat or a dancing pig.
Dancing pig.
Dancing pig.
That's an excellent one. And then Demo Man is the last one here. Demo Man have no way to hit you other than their nades. Simply circle kite them and jump. So you just kind of circle around them as they just kind of, spray the area. They're going to miss you because, it's a slim window of possibility to hit you when you're circling around them. If they switch to stickies, just make sure you're paying attention to where they're sitting on the ground, because obviously, if you're going in a predictable circle like clockwise, they're going to anticipate that and put a sticky down. Then once you get there, boom, you're dead.
Yeah.
But usually like circling them is good, because if you run away, they'll probably hit you on the way out. And also we have a couple call-in tips here. This first one is from Mr. Eagle.
Mr. Eagle.
Hi, Brent, Spencer, Wes, and Eric. This is Adam, or Mr. Eagle in game. I thought I'd share a scout tip for your show coming up. And the tip is just learning to run back and forth in a circle around somebody while shooting them at the same time. This works really well, especially for the scout, since his speed advantage works really well for all one-on-one battles, which is a lot of what the scout will be doing anyways. So yeah, that's the tip. Running in a circle. Love the podcast. Looking forward to the next show. Hey, I'll see you later. Bye.
All right, thanks, Eagle. That was kind of the same tip that we gave fighting against a demo. Is just kind of, in a close quarters or when you're being shot at, kind of circle kite.
Yeah.
And jump around and kind of be unpredictable.
And we got one more call-in from Sunny Kim, I think. And here's that one.
This is Sunny Kim. I play TF2. I heard your podcast. You guys are pretty awesome. Here's a tip for the scout for your podcast. Double jumping. It is awesome. And let's see. Another tip is for scouts, if you have a shotgun, the closer the range for your shotgun, the more powerful it is. Yeah. And also there is, I know I'm leaving a lot of messages, but still. Okay. Bye. My username is chaos in brackets and girly card with the cross sign at the end. Bye.
Okay, thanks. We're not really clear on what your screen name is there. Chaos with some kind of characters there.
With brackets and
brackets.
stuff.
And a cross sign of something.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But,
did you notice his first tip?
Yeah, I wanted to make a comment about that. We always appreciate Collins, but didn't I specifically say last week, don't call and say to double jump?
I think that's just inviting Collins and emails about double jumping.
I think that's called a verbal slap in the face, Spencer.
Anyway, thanks, guys. We appreciate the calls. I had one more quick scout tip real quick. When you're fighting against a pyro, just run away.
That's a good point.
Because the scout is going to lose.
You'd be surprised how many people, when I'm playing pyro, will just sit there and shoot at me. And I'm like, I'm burning you up. What are you doing?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's all we've got for the scout. Anybody else got anything?
No.
We got the, I guess if we're wrapping up the scout, then that's good.
Yeah.
Do we know?
We're ending our dossier segment.
Yeah,
we can move on to the next segment now.
Hey, what are we going to do next week? Have we decided?
We got Demo Man down here, but I don't know if that's left from last week or not.
I think it is.
I vote Pyro.
Okay. Pyro.
I don't know.
Great.
What do you think?
Yeah, so
let's see. Next week will be anything special? Any kind of holidays?
Nope.
Nothing?
Nope.
Pyro sounds good then.
Yeah. Hey, if you guys have any pyro tips, call, leave a message in the forum, send us an email. We're easy that way.
And don't send a tip that says double jump either.
I think that's awesome.
Pyros just don't do that sort of thing.
I'm now going to call in and leave a double jump tip. When you're playing the pyro, the best thing you can do is double jump.
It's awesome.
Pyro, that's my fave. Okay. We got this email to us. This is kind of strange. It says custom tooled cartridges, $200. Firing for 12 seconds, $400,000. Having your head smashed in by a hyperactive teenager with a bat, priceless. That was from Babas.
Thank you. Nice stuff.
Wow, are we wrapping up the episode here?
We're all the way out.
Oh, this is a neat thing. We're featured on the games page of iTunes right now under the section new and what is it? New and
notable or
notable,
something like
that?
Yeah, on the games.
So that's pretty neat.
Yeah, we've been there for a few weeks, but we're slowly creeping up in rank there.
Mm-hmm. We want to get to the top 4.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
Yeah, and I think it's a lot to do with people leaving reviews because 4 or 5 reviews is actually a good bit for having 5 episodes.
Yeah, last time I looked, we had 6 reviews. In addition, our Steam community was 82 people.
That's awesome.
It is so awesome. You guys rock.
Yes. So invite your friends. Tell them to come on in. Leave us a review.
Yeah, this next week I'm not gonna be logged in very much because I'm gonna start working on this movie, and it's gonna take up lots and lots of my time. So if I'm not logged in, it's not because I hate the game now or anything. It's just I'm busy.
Don't lie.
But I'm glad we're doing the Pyro because I have lots and lots of experience with the Pyro. So cool. I'm ready to go.
So dig us. We've got a link up on our website that all you have to do is be logged into Dig and click it. It'll give us some dig. Leave us more iTunes comments because we love to hear what you guys think. Join our Steam community.
Yes, this is important. Join the community.
The more people we have on the community, the better our games will be. And register on the forums because Mija Win is currently dominating them. We need someone else to balance him out.
Yes, we need some kind of competition going on here.
And eventually,
he must be crushed.
We may have some forum games that tie in to the podcast and other communities.
Forum games.
We'll talk about later.
All right.
Cool. Thanks again to everybody who contributed to this episode.
Give us a call. Our number is 256-513-4772. Leave us a good message and you'll be featured on the show.
Yeah.
And be sure to dig us and call us at 256-513-4772.
He hasn't said the number yet.
Boink.
And our game server is, what is it?
Gameservers.com.
Hey, quick, what does the scout say? What does the scout say? He says, what does he say?
He says, I'm dead. What?
Come on, Doc, please heal me. Please, God, heal me. I'm dying over here. You won't heal me. You're healing that soldier in that heavy webs, but you won't heal. Please.
Boink.
Boink, 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 boink.
You
are now at the end of another episode of Control Point.
Victory.
Every one of you deserves a medal.
A podcast brought to you by the Dead Workers Party. See the show notes and leave comments for this episode at controlpoint.deadworkers.com or leave us a voicemail at area code 256-513-4772.
Auf Wiedersehen!
I'm your medic. You think I'm in the bitch seat? Yeah, I heard you said it. You think that it's a noob class, man? Don't you get it? They call it a support class because I carry your ass. Don't forget it. Want me to pull the plug? Then I'll grant your wish. When you see me rolling in with Havoc, 6, Gonzo, Norm, Jeremy, G with a 2. Nothing but badasses populate my crew, and I'm the medic.